Hi, Guy. Thanks for hanging out.
Hey, are you able to see that I did sign-ups appear for this or no?
I can, as far as the application is concerned, or for this meeting,
Application for this meeting. Obviously, I signed up because I got the confirmation, but
I can take a look at the end and pull it up, and then we can discuss just you and me.
I thank you much. Moan is okay. She knows us.
Okay. Hey, guys, I just want to let you know that the chat function is on. If you have any questions and you want to type them in, it's something we can address at the end. If not, if something is a pressing question or comment, feel free to take yourselves off mute and just chime in as we go through the presentation. Excuse me. I'm going to start in about 30 seconds, see if anybody else is going to sign on. And I will start sharing my screen. Okay, I just want to make sure everyone can see my screen. We'll give our friends another minute or so. Excuse me, and then we'll begin. Okay, hello to everyone joining. If you want, while we wait, just in the chat, if you could just tell me your child's name and what school they currently attend. Your child's name and the school they currently attend. Great. Lashon, Kavod. Okay, so we have our West Coast friends here. Hello, everyone. Okay, so we're going to begin. So let's get started. So hello, welcome to our first virtual capstone session. Very excited for you to join us. My name is Sasha Kogan. I work at Hebrew Public. I'm Senior External Relations Manager. I'm the trip leader. I do most of the organization for this trip on the US side. I have been with the organization now for 8 years. This is the second trip I will be joining, and I'm very excited to meet you and your children and get to experience this with them in Israel. So I just have a quick team introduction. So the first person I want to introduce, who is not here, unfortunately, her name is Valerie Kaitina. She is Chief External Officer of Hebrew Public, the national, excuse me, the national organization that is managing this trip. She does wonderful, amazing things, and this trip has been her baby for many, many years. And we're excited to go on to our next trip, the first one being in 2017. So lots of fun stuff ahead. Next is Anat Einstein, who's director at our Israel office. She manages all the logistics on the Israel side. And then there's me, quick introduction. Excited to go on this trip with your kids. Not only do I manage this 8th grade experience, but also the alumni program called Atidim, which means futures. And that is where all of your 8th graders are headed. We have lots of fun experiences with them, even after they graduate 8th grade. More to come on that. Okay, just a few highlights from last trips and let you know how excited we are to embark on this journey. We connected with the land. We stepped out of our comfort zones. We did things we didn't think we would ever do. We tried foods we thought we would never try. We focused on agriculture and technology and science and met with Israeli peers and really connected to the country we've been learning about for so many years and got true hands-on, first-hand experiences in Israel. So we're very, very excited for what's to come. Okay, so here is the agenda. I will do my best to try and address all of your questions. We have lots to discuss from why we're doing this, where we're going, when we're going, what's included, and everything in between. Okay, this is actually our group on top of Masada. This was last year's group. We had a big group. Very nice. Okay, so I want to say that everything I'm going to say is subject to change. Okay, so as of right now, our trip dates are June 30th to July 7th. As you know, we pushed the dates from our original February dates. It's hard to plan with 5 participating schools with end of year activities and all the things that are happening, but these are the dates that we landed on. We are currently awaiting pricing from our logistics company and excuse me, and all of that information. These dates may be plus minus 1 day, depending on the packages and pricing we receive. As soon as we receive this information, final dates, final information, everyone will receive it. So you'll be in the know in like real time happening. Why is this offered? So all of your students go to a Hebrew language charter school, and they've been learning Hebrew for many, many years. They've been learning about Israel, and this 8th grade trip is the culmination of everything that they've learned. It's something that they've been working hard towards, that they're looking forward to. So this trip is to honor hard work, and those students go who really want to go, who really want to experience Israel, who want to put their Hebrew to the test, who want to, I'm saying, step out of your comfort zone and experience this small but mighty country we've been learning about for so many years in real life. So we want to honor and reward their achievements. In addition to that, we want students to, I do apologize. We want students to practice their Hebrew in a real life setting, whether it's connecting with Israeli peers, whether it's practicing their Hebrew, maybe ordering lunch at one of the bodegas or mall strips we go to. We really want them to experience that. And we've seen that students, once they're immersed in the language and the culture and the country, their Hebrew comes out more fluently and they know more than they think they do. In addition is being a global citizen, exploring the world, experiencing, and really being able to foster independence and autonomy. As you know, mom and dad and parents will not be joining this trip. We can talk more on that in a bit. Okay, so the goals of the trip are a lot, and I'm not going to read them all to you, but basically we want the students to experience the immensity that Israel is and everything that Israel has to offer. We want them to practice their Hebrew, interact with peers, learn about innovation and all of the things that make up Israel in a real life setting. So we want them to learn and be inspired and engaged and come home with a real passion and fire in their eyes to just do wonderful, amazing things in high school and beyond. So stepping out of our comfort zones, that's a recurring theme here. So a lot of these students who are joining this trip have never been out of the country or never been on an airplane or even left the city where they live. So this experience is a big experience for most. We have them trying new foods they've never heard of. For instance, this hachipuri is a classic Georgian dish that is commonly served in many Israeli restaurants, and the students get to explore things and try things, like it or not like it, but the point is they're trying and exploring and really seeing what's out there. Another thing is facing their fears. So we do go on a lot of hikes, and we do climb the Masada, whether it's at sunrise or sunset, and it's a very, very tall climb. And it's scary for a lot of students to climb up and climb down. But I will say, in all of the years we've been doing this and all of the years we've been at Masada, no student has not tried to go. So we've seen a lot of turnaround students who may have been scared or anxious or worried, but they did it. They climbed and they were so proud of themselves, and their peers really root them on, which is something really, really special. And of course, that leads to making friends. So, we have 5 participating schools going on this trip from the West Coast to the East Coast. And these students have this experience to meet other students who they would normally never meet. And, we are now a little over a year from last year's trip, and I know the students are still in contact. They're visiting each other. 3, 4 years ago, 2 girls met on a Capstone trip. And then I mentioned before we have an alumni program. So one of the alumni opportunities is to bring these kids back to Israel after they've graduated 8th grade for a leadership experience in Israel. And these 2 students, one from Agamim, which is in Minneapolis, and one from HLA, which is in Brooklyn, they met in Israel for the second time. And now they are lifelong friends. They talk every day. And it's really special to see, budding friendships that normally, wouldn't happen without this trip. So who is eligible? So from the national network eligibility standpoint, all current 8th graders who attend HLA, Hatikva, Lashon Kavod, or Agamim, and who are in good academic standing are eligible to apply. In other words, if your child has failing grades, they will not be eligible for this trip. And we will discuss more about the processes and eligibility guidelines as we move on. But generally speaking, all 8th graders in good academic standing are eligible to apply. Each school may have additional benchmarks and additional criteria for who they would like to see on this trip, but it's a process, and we want as many students as possible to join us on this experience. Again, this is us last year in Tel Aviv. Okay, where will we go? So the country is small, but there's a lot to see. So we will be in the north, hopefully. Excuse me, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, the desert, where we'll likely have an overnight in a Bedouin tent and really experience what that is, ride camels and do the whole thing. In years past, and I'll talk more about that in the coming slides, in years past, students stayed overnight in different cities. But this year will be a little bit different, and I'll talk more about that. We'll have like one central home base, I'll say, and we'll take day trips and one overnight towards the end of the trip. So what will we learn? First of all, what won't we learn? So Israel, like our schools, are diverse, filled with all different types of people, all different types of backgrounds, religions, cultures, languages. So part of what we will learn is Israel as a shared society. We will hear stories and learn about people from different backgrounds and kind of see how Israel is a melting pot of all of these different types of people, and really get immersed in all of this and meet peers from meet peers in 8th grade in Israel and kind of compare and contrast our lives and really develop these friendships, but really a shared society as a whole. Excuse me. Israel is the startup nation. We will visit museums, we will visit different sites and learn more about technology, agriculture, the medical fields. There's an app called Waze that I'm sure everyone has or at least has heard of. This was created in Israel. So we'll hear more about that. We'll see more about that. And students will really get immersed in how truly unique this startup nation is, and we'll really experience it firsthand on different day trips. Then and now, history. So the land of Israel is very old and there's lots to see, lots to uncover. Where else can you walk down the same street, Jesus walked? And we'll do an archaeological dig and, find little stones and, bowls and cups and, really dates us back. So we really experience Israel, ancient Israel, and how, modern and tech savvy the country is and where it's going. So history is a big part of it. Excuse me, Hebrew. So, of course, all of our students in all of our schools learn how to speak, read, and write in Hebrew. Some of our students have been here in the school since kindergarten or first grade, so they have, 8, 9 years under their belt, and some don't, and that's okay. But, they get to experience this in real life, see people surrounding them who speak Hebrew. There's a challenge that we did last year in the a very famous market in Jerusalem where we gave students pizur, which is like lunch money, to go in groups and order, their lunch or snack or drinks in Hebrew. And the feedback we've gotten from Israelis is amazing. They are so shocked and surprised, and it makes us so proud, to hear our students speak in Hebrew and enjoy it. And, it's the culmination of the whole trip. Okay, I just want to clarify who will end up going on this trip. So I mentioned before, the students have to be in good academic standing. If the child has failing grades, they cannot attend this trip. In addition to being in good academic standing, students need to have good conduct. So if your child gets suspended, they cannot go on this trip. If your child is doing really well and behaving and, right on the right track, going through all the processes to get on this trip, but a week or two gets suspended or in trouble, you know, they will not be able to join us on this trip. So we do have limited seats available, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. So we are likely not to accept every single applicant that we receive. And it's a selection process. So students need to have good grades, students need to have good conduct, students need to be motivated. They want to go on this trip. You know, some parents have shared with me, well, I really want my kid to go on this trip and experience and have the time of their lives. And I really want my child to go on this trip, but the child doesn't want to go on this trip. And, if they go on the trip, they'll take the spot of somebody who may really want to go. Um, there's a selection process I mentioned before, and I'll talk more about it in a little bit. But students need to apply. It's a parent-student application. We need both parties to complete it. After applications are received, there is a presentation process. So once applications are received, I send them more information about what to come. So there are a couple of topics that we share, and students get to decide what presentation they'd like to do, and then we schedule a meeting, we go over the presentation, and we really need to see that they are motivated and really want to go on this trip. Participation in activities is very important. So, we've come across students or, who may have not slept well the night before and they wake up to do a big hike and like, I'm tired. I want to stay, in the hotel a little bit longer, or I don't want to do this hike for so and so reason. That's not going to work. We need students to want to be a part of this, want to try new things, want to jump out of their comfort zones, and really make an effort to get the most out of this experience that is offered. Um, there are other circumstances, God forbid a student is not feeling well, and We're not going to force them to do, anything that wouldn't be deemed appropriate for that specific activity. Excuse me, I do apologize. Okay, so space is limited. So we're still finalizing the details, but we only have space for one bus. So one bus of students ranges from about 45 to 48 seats, and that's not including all of the adults and chaperones that will be joining them on the bus, which is generally about 8 to 10 adults at a given time. So space is limited. So we have 5 participating schools: HLA, Kavod, Agamim, Lashon, and Hatikva, and roughly about, max 48 seats from those 5 schools. So I just want to add that there is no like given number. For instance, HLA 5, Kavod 6, we're not doing that. It all depends on how many students apply, how many students, do the presentation, and how many students truly show us that they really, really want to attend this trip. As I know more information, you will know information on all of the next steps. Okay, so safety. This slide is definitely not enough, I think. So I do want to talk more about that later if you have any questions raised. Right now, safety is a concern, and I completely understand as a parent myself. And, I just want to share that we will always have a guard and medic with us at 24 for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we receive daily updates from Israel's Situation Room. For those of you who don't know, it's like Israel's Homeland Security. So we are on the ground and we have people on the ground, and we make adjustments as necessary given any recommendations. Safety is our top priority always. The safety of our staff and our students is of top priority. That's why, I'm sorry, that's why we did make a couple of changes as far as where we're staying, and I will get to that in the next spot. So we have like one home base in Israel, and we'll be going on day trips. Something that I have shared in previous communications, but I'll share again, we are monitoring the situation in Israel, and we will only bring your children there if it is safe to go. Um, I want to say this as a caveat: the trip may be canceled at any time. If that happens, all payments will be returned. Safety is of our top priority, and we're going by that. Okay, so where will we stay? So we are going to stay at the lovely Ben Shemen Youth Village, which is in central Israel. It's about 30 minutes on either side from Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Um, it's dorm style rooms. There's a large campus. There are other students who live there. We will take day trips from Ben Shemen Youth Village and, come back at the end of the day. As mentioned before, at the end of the trip, we'll have one overnight, likely in the desert in the Bedouin tent. As soon as I have more on the itinerary, you will know. I don't have an itinerary to share yet. We're still working out the details and, want to make this as engaging and worthwhile for everyone as possible. Um, Boys and girls will be separated with chaperones on duty. It will be about 2 to 4 girls or boys in a room at a time. So again, stepping out of our comfort zones will make friends from other schools and hopefully build lasting friendships. Okay, so what's included in the cost? So I don't want to scare anyone, but we'll get there. So basically, this is like an all-inclusive trip. So our accommodations are included, our meals are included, trip guide, trip guard, motor vehicle, all of the trips and the flights. So really, this is an all-inclusive trip. Technically, students don't need to bring any money. They may if they would like to, here we are in Jerusalem in one of the markets. And if they'd like to purchase, some things or souvenirs, they're more than welcome to. But as far as needs are concerned, everything that the students would need is covered in this trip cost. So what does this trip cost? So this trip in totality costs $4,800 for anyone who has ever been to Israel or traveled to Israel, even a couple years ago, knows that this trip would not have costed this much then. Everything has increased, flights, accommodations, gas, everything it has increased. I will say that we do provide financial assistance for families who qualify or who may need it. We don't want anyone to be deterred from this trip based on the cost. Okay, so if you and your child really want them to enjoy this and experience this, we will find a way for them to go on this trip with us. Okay. So just to reiterate, no student will be excluded from this trip because they can't afford it. A lot of this trip is made possible by philanthropic support, and scholarships will be given on a case-by-case basis for those who need it. The deadline to submit the application for financial assistance is March 15th. In addition to the financial assistance form being due on March 15th, the application to attend this trip is also due on March 15th. Scholarships will be awarded around the first week of April, and you'll know what to do from there on out. Okay, so amazing. I want my child to go. What do we do? What's next? So you have to apply, right? So I checked earlier today, don't have many applications. I'm hoping after our conversation, I'll see a couple of more in the coming days. And everyone who's on here, I will resend this information in addition to this recording and, answer any questions you may have. But just a reminder, March 15th, applications and financial aid forms due. So I will email all of this to you. Again, just a reminder, the application is twofold. There's a parent and a student section. And if you are interested in financial aid, you must complete a financial assistance form. Just know it's a separate form, two separate things. Okay, so important dates, and I will email this to you. March 15th, applications and financial aid forms due. Excuse me. The weeks of March 19th to the 28th is a presentation window. So after I receive your student's application, I will follow up with an email with detailed instructions on this presentation, what to do, how to do. If they need support, we'll have some office hours. And also they'll be able to choose a time to meet with us and present their presentation. The first week of April, students will be notified of the status of their application and any scholarship support awarded. The following week, April 12th, we need to know if you're accepted, right? If a child is accepted, we need to know by April 12th if your child is joining us. And there's a couple forms we need to fill out and a $300 deposit. Again, I will be emailing this to everyone just so everyone has it. Okay. So we do have a payment schedule, and this could be flexible. So right now we have 4 installments for the total trip balance. If you need additional support or more time, if you need to pay a little bit more at this time, a little bit more or less the next time, we will make this work. The last thing we want to do is for a student not to attend because of financial. So we will work with you and we will do whatever we can to have your child join us on this trip. Okay, so medical considerations, this is very important. So we're going to Israel. We will be very physical. We will be doing a lot of walking, hiking, standing, lots of things. Um, we need to know if your child has to take any medication, if there are any allergies, food restrictions, anything like that. We need to make sure that we will accommodate whatever needs your child has. Um, back to our medic that will be with us at all times. They're able to give medicine, they're able to, just they're trained to support your child in whatever they need. So, as far as that, rest assured, we got you covered. Okay, so that is the end of my presentation. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Hello, everyone. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to unmute, ask away, or raise a hand and go from there.
Hi, my name is Genesis. I have a question. So let's say, God forbid, the trip is canceled. Are they able to be given the opportunity to go with next year's graduating class?
So that is a great question. So I'm not sure if the students who have already graduated be able to join the following trip, but I do want to touch on the opportunities that they will have as alumni, generally starting in 10th grade, where they have the opportunity to go back to Israel for 2 to 3 weeks. And also live in Ben Shemen, teach English to students, and really are a part of a leadership experience. I'm not saying definitely not Genesis, but I'm saying right now I'm not sure. But rest assured, there are other future opportunities for everyone to come back to Israel with us.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Any questions? If you want, you can message me privately or we can talk separately. Okay. Well, if nobody has any additional questions, I'm just letting you know everything that we went over tonight will be sent in an email with important dates. You'll have my information if something does pop up and you want to know. Please feel free to reach out. My team is here to support you. We are so excited to go on this trip. Cannot wait to go, and it's going to be amazing. And I'm excited that you guys are here with the interest of having your child join us. So I want to say thank you again. It was nice to talk with you, and we'll talk soon. All right, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.